Alright boys, so today I'm gonna show you my build Lightning Spear Sorcerer in Season 5 Diablo 4. So this is a tier 8 showcase of Horde, the new content in Season 5. And let me tell you, this is the most busted build I've ever played since release. I played for over a year since closed beta. And it can carry even 4-man tier 8 Horde, 4-man tormented bosses, just about anything in the game. And a lot of people think this build has been nerfed to the ground because devs have made a change to an aspect that is our main damage ability or like overall. And it's not true. It is just not true. It is a bit of a nerf in very high pit pushing. I'm talking about 140 plus, 130 plus pit pushing. But in 99% of the content, you will not really feel it. It is still extremely busted. And it's crazy how many people just fall for clickbaits even and stuff like that. So it's pretty wild. And yeah, this build is doing just fine. They only nerfed the Fractured Vertiglass so it doesn't proc as many conjurations, because that was the cause for server lag, or at least that's what I think, because it still keeps lagging, so nothing was really fixed in that on that side. I actually think it's a rogue and the Totem Umbra Crux, where everyone just soaks the damage into the totem, and you can really see it on the world bosses, for example. So yeah, we deal a bit more damage now because they increase the damage of the aspect at the cost of spawning less conjurations. It's still amazing though. So I'll show a bit of a bosses here as well in tier 8. And this kind of depends like a lot about the grouping mobs together. And there are like more versions to go for when it comes to itemization. Mainly the chest piece. I'm rocking Tyrell's Might. I'm a big fan of that. I like the extra damage from Holy Bolts, but mainly the defensive layers that item provides. Because just about anything can almost one-shot you, especially a Hellfire raining from the skies, you can see here. That can really hurt you if you don't have defensives up. So Tyrell is helping with that. But Raiment is another chest piece a lot of sorts are using for the damage increase. But also the aspect of the chest piece where if you teleport, you group mobs together. So that helps a lot as well. But yeah, let's take a look at the forwards. I was pretty unlucky with grouping these bosses Fell Council together. Like early on it's fine, but the other one's about to teleport in a second. And the most damage comes out when you stagger the bosses, which is the blue bar. So try to get it ASAP. And there's also I also tested a way with Fist of Fate, which apply a lot of CC on the target, but since it's based on luck hit and Sork is very good luck hit. So for CC and everything, it's very good Fist of Fate, but they don't work right now. The aspect of 200 to 300% damage increase, it doesn't seem to work, so that's pretty unlucky. But I'll take you to the planner and we're gonna talk about some stuff. And I'll have this play in the background. How about that? We put this in the middle, boom, just like that. Easy, perfect, love it. So, assign the skills. Our main ability is Lightning Spear. And we don't really put points in Lightning Spear because the main damage, this is main ability, but main damage, Splintering Energy. This is the arc proc of lightning damage from the spear when you crit. That's what we're gonna stack, by the way. So this aspect does not scale from extra ranks to Lightning Spear. I have it written down out here. What does it not scale with? So no extra spear ranks. It is just strictly multiplied by crit damage. That's why we want to stack this as much as possible. And it is not affected by conjuration bonuses. But we still want to max out the passive mastery though. Second one is teleport for the damage reduction. And let me tell you, Sork is one of the tankiest classes in the game. It's ridiculous how many damage reductions this class has. And I'm not even running all of them on this build, right? Because as you can see, it's not needed even. Because on top of barrier from ice armor, your spear also gets you barrier with every cast. So sure, why not, right? Next up, we got Flame Shield for immortality. As you see fit, use this to avoid big hits or just regularly. So it's up to you. Ice armor for barrier. This is mainly for the aspect storm spell, which I believe triple dips right now, or double dips. It dips with the vulnerable. And it dips also with barrier. So this gives us more damage than it shows here, or even than intended, but don't tell them, alright? Next up, Frozen Orb, and then Unstable Currents. This is the ultimate. You want to have this up non-stop, if you can. This is our very good boost for damage, but also sustain. Gives us attack speed. And then we have Frozen Orb. I have written little like sentences here. When there is Frozen Orb, early on, you will not have as cracked gear with cooldown reduction because this build is very gear dependent, so and very cooldown reduction dependent. So if your cooldown reduction is not as high, you will use Frozen Orb in between Lightning Spears because your cooldown is gonna be higher on the spears, so you cannot spam it. So use this in between. I don't see it at all in my footage because there is just no need for me. I can just keep spamming Lightning Spear. Enchantments, we get Ice Blades because every cooldowns gonna spawn Ice Blades, and Ice Blades is extra damage, but Ice Blades itself in the skill tree passive upgrade. It will reduce cooldown for all of your skills. Fireball for burning, because we have a passive where it gives us crit damage if you hit burning enemies. So it goes super well with the splintering energy that scales off of crit damage. So let's take a look at the skill tree. We got 2 points in Fireball right here. To unlock core skills, 1 point in Frozen Orb, but we are mainly after Charge Bolt here for this passive where the mobs will deal less damage to. Very good stuff. I put 1 point in Flame Shield, but you can totally get like other upgrades here for Flame Shield. Someone likes to go with the HP here. So it kind of depends. Teleport for the damage reduction, a very good passive. You can use this now. You will be able to use this non-stop, so you will have 30% DR non-stop on top of Harlequin Crest and Tyrell's Might once you get them later on. We also got Ice Armor, the barrier up, and we also have increased damage to frozen enemies. With good CDR, you will have this non-stop as well. Passive Glass Cannon, this is what's on the Raiment, the chest piece. That's what people like to masterwork and have greater graphics for. So good damage increase. It can give you up to 50%, I believe, so that's pretty good multiplier, very good one. Next up, we got Ice Blades. And here, the Ice Blades cooldown is reduced by, half a second if you hit vulnerable enemy. But especially for the summoned Ice Blades, where this passive will reduce the cooldown of other abilities, like I talked about. Lightning Spear, we take it for, as you can see, Lightning Spear itself has 15% crit chance. I'll show later on with stats how to approach critical strike chance. And also here, every time you crit, you stun the enemy. And there is a passive with this, I'll show you later, but why I really like that passive. So we have non-stop stun. Now this is the single-handedly the most important passive we want to go for. That's why we have Fractured Vernier Glass, the Amulet, and we want to get great graphics on this passive. This is also giving us movement. So every conjuration will give us movement speed. So we do not need to evade with Esu's Heirloom. A lot of people think that you need to evade it in order to get the movement speed increase to proc the critical chance that scales from movement speed bonus. No, we don't. Every single conjuration gives you movement speed, and we are able to get 40 to 50 conjurations. It depends on how many enemies are around. So 40 times 3%, that's a lot of movement speed. So there you go. Passives here in Align, Mana Shield for even more well, this is not really, I mean, this one later on, not really needed because we won't be spending that much mana. In between, here and there, you can weave in some Frozen Orbs, proc this bad boy. And also, if you use a cooldown, you will get a barrier. So yeah, Spear is a cooldown ability. The lowest you can get it, the lowest cooldown you can get this from 20 seconds. You can get it to 5 seconds. You cannot go lower than that. I do have 5 seconds, so every time I use this, it's just boom, barrier, right? Pretty wild. Next up, we got Devouring Blaze. This is the one I was talking about. Crit damage against burning enemies. That's why we go with Firebolt Enchantment. And then we have Static Discharge, which will form a crackling energy. And I mainly like the Shock and Impact. Every time you stun an enemy, it will deal lightning damage to them. So this one is also on Raiment. I tried greater graphics on Raiment, and this is a very good passive, very good like constant damage because we stun every single spawn of the Lightning Spear. So it's very nice. Next up, we got Hoarfrost for even more damage to frozen enemies. Since we cast Frozen Orbs non-stop, you will froze them also non-stop. We got Unstable Currents, the ultimate that also will, cast a shock skill. Whenever you cast a shock skill, a random core conjuration mastery shock skill also cast. So that's where the charge bolts come in. We also want to get mainly the attack speed here from currents. This will allow us to reach the cap or breakpoint, not the cap, excuse me, the breakpoint for Lightning Spear, which is 89.3%. With my current setup and my Paragon, I have 89.5%. So try to adjust this accordingly to your gear. Early on, it's impossible to reach that much attack speed. And this attack speed is, by the way, taken with the unstable currents, your items, and also attack speed potion, which is 15%. So unstable currents and potion, which is 15, it already gives you 40%, 40% attack speed. So you should have about 50% almost, right? And then we got the other one here, where crackling energy pulls us faster and costs no charges. There's also this passive Warmth for sustain and heal. I like to temper this on the pants. You will see later in the planner. So I do not put points in here because it's pretty deep. It requires a lot of points, so that's why I don't see it here. But it's very good for sustain. And then we want to go for overflowing energy here. Excuse me, it seems to be okay. There we go. Never mind. Overflowing energy is even more cooldown reduction, so that's why we want crackling energy here. Spawn them, you know, from the passive up top. So yeah, we will have even more. This build in general is insane amount of cooldown reduction. You can also go with Veer's Mastery if you want some sustain, as in being more tankiness. But your cooldowns aren't going to be as good as Spicy like that. So that was the skill tree Paragon Board right now. Let's see what we're cooking with. We enlarge this bad boy. So first board, we are going with Elementalist. So for some nice damage. Second board, we got the Burning Instinct. I like to go for the upper one as well. Very important for damage reduction. This itself is 13% damage reduction, which is crazy, on top of these blue ones. With a glyph here, we go Tactician. Buffing the rare nodes here is pretty good. Damage to burning, and also the damage reduction from burning enemies, which is every single one. Third board, we go with Enchantment Master, but we only go for this part of the glyph. We put Unleash in here to buff the magic nodes, not too bad, mainly for the damage in here, non-physical. This non-physical damage will also help capping out the Frigid Fate to 60%, similar to Barbarian. Some of you may know me as a Barbarian, Blood Rage, so you wanna get this bad boy up as well. I believe I'm actually missing like 10% on my Sorcerer. I believe I'm at 50% out of 60. I'm not too sure now. And also, these passives will also help, but I didn't have enough points for these two. Because I wanted to get more attack speed to reach the breakpoint. So this is a very good passive as well. And at the board, we go with this time the legendary Frigid Fate, like I talked about, and we put the charge glyph here for the increased damage whenever you pick crackling energy, which is almost non-stop because you teleport around everywhere and you create these energy cracklings everywhere as well. Extra damage reduction for vulnerable, we applied it non-stop through a lightning spear. And at the board, we got is Elemental Summoner. It's very good for, we don't really take this for the damage, but we mainly want to get this for, because the lightning spear, the aspect does not scale from this, but we want to get it for the cooldown reduction, and, you know, yeah, cooldown mana, not really, but cooldown reduction mainly. We want to go with Conjure Glyph here for the duration conjuration skills. So the what's it called, the spears are going to be flying around longer, also with Ice Blade, stuff like that, so we get the Conjuration Mastery proc and stacking faster, or for longer as well. Attack speed here, 5% if you meet the requirements, which we do with this build. And this was enough to reach for the breakpoint for me, 89.5% for the setup. Next up, we got the Ceaseless Conduit with a Destruction Glyph for crit damage. You want to max this out as well as much as possible. So I would typically put 2 points in here for added dexterity, so we would be at 49 out of 25, but again, I had to reach this attack speed point here, so I had to sacrifice 5 points, right? So sounds about fair. Down there, 2 points to here as well. And at the board, we got is Searing Heat, just for the glyph activation. We go with Exploit, because this is a min-max for dexterity glyph, so amazing stuff here. And the last one, we do have Static Surge. We don't go for any rare nodes, because there is not enough points, and it's also dexterity glyph Flame Feeder for even more damage. So this is pretty good. We are running currently 8 glyphs, I believe. This is pretty crazy work for a sorcerer. So that was the Paragon setup. Let's talk about the gear, what we got going, right? Before we do get into it, I want to talk about some stuff. So Fists of Fate right now, they don't seem to work. The 200 to 300% damage increase, which is pretty bad because overall the gloves are very good. They get a lot of crit chance, attack speed, but also lucky hits, a lot of lucky hit. And I do happen to get triple J Fist of Fate thanks to my boy Sinley who gave them to me, so kinda unlucky. Now attack speed breakpoint, like I talked about, is 89.3% with potion and unstable currents, and Talrasha ring. While a lot of sorcerer are using that ring, but you don't see it on my build because this is end game setup. But Talrasha is very good early on because it gives a lot of cooldown reduction. And I did drop with GA from Nightmare Dungeon while I was leveling, so it was like I was meant to be. But if you guys need anything for Sorcerer, Talrasha, the Fractured Winter Glass, or even Raiment, just hit me up. I'm streaming every day on Twitch or YouTube, so I got some trying to farm some for the viewers for free, if anyone's interested. So yes, the cooldown reduction. Now crit chance should be around 40% as we get 15 from Lightning Spear, and SU Boots is another 40 if you can get the max roll SU, that is. So we want to aim to 100% the crit chance as much as possible for the Splintering Energy aspect that's, you know, activating with every crit. And then further just scales with crit chance. And yeah, here I've talked about the evaded SU. You do not need to evade the SU, just use teleport. And the automatically conjurations are gonna give you move speed. So yeah, 10 conjurations is their best movement speed, and 10 conjurations is nothing, right? So there we go. This is the priority for stats, in my opinion. Cooldown reduction number first. I would say crit chance as the second one to proc splinter energy, attack speed for the breakpoint, and crit damage. Maybe like swap these two. It kind of depends. The gear, I do have Harlequin Crest. I recommend crafting this one as the first one of Uber Mythics, or yeah, Mythic Uniques, excuse me. Herald's Might, if you don't have this one, just use Raymond. I'll also talk about it down here in the description. On the gloves, you're rocking the Shredding Blades for the Ice Blades, even more damage. You gain vulnerable damage. This shows as multiplicative because it is, but in general, vulnerable damage itself has been made additive since Season 2, I believe. So in the stat sheet, it still shows as multiplicative, but as a stat affix on the item, it's not. So we run a rock attack speed, crit chance, and crit damage, and all the items is exactly what I have on my build, even with Masterworks. So I got one proc on attack speed, one on crit damage, and the other one on the temper and crit damage. We're gonna go with lightning spear damage conjurations. I believe that one is false. That should be something else, or it shows a different one. I will try to fix this one on the tempering. I believe it should be a lucky hit with lightning spear. I'm not too sure on the gloves. I'll fix this later because it doesn't seem right. I don't have lightning spear damage because you cannot have two offensive tempers on one item. On the pants, we go with Orange Herald for the cooldown reduction on the ultimate Untable Currents. A lot of people are also running Tybalt's Will, which I also talk about down here for more damage if you want to. But I just like this aspect. And you can also temper the Warmth, which is once again the sustain for healing, for HP, auto heal. You don't have to waste points, healing potions. Intelligence, maximum life, greater affix, and dodge chance is the third one. It can be really whatever you want. Lightning Spear, lucky hit chance. And then we have the boots here, which is Asus for crit chance. Gonna help us cap out for the splintering energy. And we want to stack as much crit damage on these boots with Masterworks. On the two-hander, we go with the staff this time. So the splinter energy is actually a higher number because aspects on two-handers are 200% more, stronger. So let's go with crit damage as the affix. Aim for it as a greater affix. I know they are quite expensive on the website, Diablo.trade. Max life, intelligence, and with temperings, we're going with double chance lightning spear and crit strike damage. I believe for the chance to proc lightning spear 2 times or another cast should be 61%, because when you masterwork it fully without any procs into it, it's gonna end up over 90%. So that's very much recommended if you can be lucky. Of course, it's all RNG. Amulet, the main thing in this build that allows this everything here is Fractured Winter Glass. Every time you proc Conjuration, cast a Frozen Orb. So Frozen Orbs proc Conjurations, and Conjurations proc Frozen Orbs, vice versa. So this should be an opener. You precast Frozen Orbs on the target, teleport onto it, and I'll show you the rotation later. You should aim for greater affix on Conjuration Mastery, even though this one is very hard to get, very expensive, and you need to be lucky to drop it. And I just like to double proc on the cooldown with Masterwork and one left on the Mastery. But you can also triple proc the cooldowns. It's also very good. The ring here, or both of them, actually, it's crit strike, crit damage. Crit chance, crit damage, and attack speed. It's crit damage. The temper is the first one. The second one is lightning spear cooldown reduction. I proc this 3 times on lightning spear. This only once. They're both very high rolled from a setup, and I was able to reach 5-second cooldown on this bad boy. So here we go with the Storm Spell, one of the best aspects for Sorcerer because it's extra dips with barrier and vulnerable. Then we got Frozen Orbits for more proc of the Frozen Orb. Also very good aspect. And the gems, we gotta go for Emerald or the weapons because it's crit damage. Armor, you gotta go with Topaz. You can also go with Emerald for crit chance if your gear is not high enough for crit chance to proc Splinter Energy. Also talk about it right here. And you can also go for Ruby for more HP and sustain if you feel like to. And on the jewelry, it does not matter because with the Harlequin Crest, we are already capped with armor. But if you don't have that one, you should go with Skull, as resistances on this class are super easy. Intelligence is our main stat. Intelligence is also resistances. And with Herald's Might is super easy. But if you're still lacking resistances, if you don't have Thrill's Might, you can just swap out Dachshunds here for all resistances and put diamonds in here or skulls. Very easy. Strengths, we got very good damage for AoE and single target, very mobile, good sustain and tankiness. It's very good. Just the only weakness is gear requirement. That's the only weakness. Nothing else in this for this build. Nothing else, right? Gameplay loop, just precast Frozen Orb, buff yourself up with the ultimate Unstable Currents for attack speed, and then Ice Barrier to get multipliers from the aspect Storm Swell, teleport on the target for damage reductions, and just proc your spam your screen Lightning Spear and watch magic happen, because that's what really happens. Flame Shield also, you can save it or use it as you see fit to avoid mechanics or defense. And this is already talked about this. For the consumables, I'm gonna add consumables in this tab. It should be the attack speed potion to reach the breakpoint for the attack speed. If you're over the breakpoint without the potion, you can go for crit chance, crit damage. It's really up to you. Or even, you know, HP potion if you feel like your sustain is not good enough, right? But yeah, I feel like we talked about everything. So next build will be probably Whirlwind Barbarian. I did runs yesterday on Horde with both Sorg to get this footage up and this build, and then it will be Whirlwind Barbarian. So thank you everybody very much for watching. I appreciate you all. Stream every day on live on Twitch and YouTube once again. If you have any questions, if you're gonna get some free raiment, a Telrusher ring, or the amulet, hit me up. And yeah, thank you very much and have a good one. Until next time, peace.